Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first game on Infernal Shrines between Cognitive and Gale Force Esports. Dreamhack Austin, we're currently looking at one of our games in the group stage here, of course. This is Group B. It's the first game that the two teams are playing here. So once again, I'm actually not in Austin. I'm currently at home. There was only a couple of games that can be shown on the main stage in Austin. And Dreamhack asked me if I could cover the games that they are not able to show on the main stage, which of course we are very happy to do here. We have our first game on Infernal Shrines, and we have a ban on the side of Gale Force with Zul banned out. Who's of course very strong on Infernal Shrines, where Cognitive is banning Illidan, and that leaves open Kel'Thas. Gale Force is taking the opportunity right away to play Kel'Thas here right now. And Cognitive is going for something that's actually kind of interesting. A Muradin and Li Ming. Li Ming, not really the strongest hero here, and they're very fast with the draft, which actually didn't even give me an opportunity to introduce my co-caster to you. I'm casting with Tetcher again, and we're of course going to bring up the coverage here at the best of 3 series.
Yeah, if they pause the draft just in time for you to give you some time. They're hovering over Falstad right now, just waiting for everyone, just making sure it's the right choice for them. I like it. Very powerful here. Tassadar would also be very nice from here, though.
I would love that Tassadar, to be honest. It leaves you open to go into a double support. Well, actually, at this point in the meta, it more or less forces you into a double support. But Tassadar just has that AoE that you need on the shrines as well. You can empower a Sonya. I would like a Sonya here. And yep, that's what they're doing. I feel like Sonya on this map is incredibly strong. If you have Tassadar Sonya as a potential pick, that's great. I was actually very surprised that Cognitive went into Li Ming. Li Ming is like strong. There's maps where she absolutely excels. But Infernal Shrines is not necessarily one of them. She is not weak on the map, but she's definitely not as strong as she is on others. Sidus, thank you very much for the resub, my friend. Thanks for the support. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised that Li Ming was being picked this early by them. I could have seen her a bit later in the draft, but I actually thought they would head into that Sonya maybe a bit earlier, or at least pick Tassadar away. They kind of failed to do both, and I have to say that at this point in the game, I feel the draft that Gale Force has is super scary.
Yeah, they have like a huge amount of the tier 1 picks, and there's a Kerrigan ban by Gale Force. They know something about Cognitive. They don't want to deal with that. It could be a really easy way that Cognitive could have been picking off Kel'Thas in this game. And it is something that they have been known to run, so nice ban by them.
Kerrigan is also, of course, a hero that's very strong in this map. There's basically like 2 maps right now where Kerrigan is sometimes played, and that's Infernal Shrines and also Tomb of the Spider Queen. Kerrigan here has been played by MVP Black quite a bit. Usually they try to run it with a Diablo, but a Muradin can also like give you that additional stun. She's great going for all of those minions on the shrine when it comes to objective. What Cognitive really needs is still a little bit more poke damage. I could see a Falstad here with a Boomerang build, for example, if you want to stay outside that shrine and poke a bit. But they have to make a choice if they instead would rather like to go into maybe a Thrall and try to counterplay Sonya a bit with that. And that seems to be the answer that they're going for here. With Tyrande as another addition, they have also, of course, some AoE thanks to the Starfall, but it will force them into a second support. And that is going to be either Uther or Rhaegar, depending on what Gale Force Esports is now going to pick for their Sonya. But ooh, that is an interesting hover that they have here.
Yeah, I would kind of like that. Doesn't look like it's what they're going to go for, but it would be kind of nice, actually. It would give them that double support. Could be, you can just use the teleport build onto Sonya. Good protection.
I would hate it. I have to admit, I would not like it at all. Rhaegar is open. Why would you not go for Rhaegar with Sonya on this map? I feel he's just absolutely perfect for the setup that they're running. With Rhaegar, Sonya, having the lightning shield, empowering her completely, having that Tassadar behind it, I would love that for them. I would really dislike a Brightwing pick because I don't feel they need it.
That is, it is true. Like, it's too much of a risk, I'd say, considering, like you said, Rhaegar's available, even Uther's available. So if they even if they didn't want the Rhaegar, who would be the most ideal support pick here, Uther with Divine Shield would still be powerful. Johanna coming out for them here, so they have the potential of that wonderful composition of the Falling Sword Leap, and there is that Uther we were talking about. They're prioritizing that Divine Shield a bit higher than the Lightning Shield that you get on the Rhaegar.
Yeah, so in this case, Rhaegar is most likely going to be picked up by Cognitive, but I really have to say that that Brightwing hover, if they would have committed to a Brightwing, I would have called the care police, because like that that would have made any sense. It's not that Brightwing cannot work in a double support setup; it actually can. But if you have Rhaegar and Uther still available, you have to be a little bit nuts to go for Brightwing. Unless there's a particular reason that you, for example, have 0 interrupts and you need something against an ETC mosh pit or along those lines. That's not the case here. So, yeah, I like that pick on the Uther. I would have maybe leaned towards Rhaegar because of the lightning shield, but both heroes are totally fine. It's at some point also a comfort pick, of course. Uther gets a lot of value on this map as well, and or can, and therefore it's definitely a great choice for them. The Divine Shield is going to enable Sonya to go deep. It's a bit of a panic button that you have as well. You have that cleanse ready, of course, and Cognitive. I'd be surprised if they wouldn't lock down that Rhaegar, and they indeed do.
Yep, so that is the full lineup for both teams right now. Gale's very much a burst engage comp if they're going for that Falling Sword leap. Otherwise, it's just a large amount of AoE and wave clear that they're going to be moving between the lanes with. Whereas Cognitive, bringing out a very strong lineup, very much focused around that Thrall, keeping him really sustained and then pushing forward with lots of AoE damage.
Yeah, I have to give a bit of an advantage to Gale Force Esports, I have to say. I feel like for the objective itself, they have the better draft here. There is definitely a good chance for Cognitive with the burst, as you already pointed out. The early game rotations are going to be very important for them. When it comes to poor control over the objective, Gale Force Esports has, in my opinion, the edge and would win the game. But, of course, team fights, that's a different matter. For now, though, we're going to go into game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, on Infernal Shrines between Cognitive and Gale Force Esports. Game number 1 in the series here at Dreamhack Austin, the NA Summer Regional Final. And to the left side of the map, we have Cattle on Muradin. We have Cognitive with Faye on Li Ming right now. We're seeing Korthenluck on Tyrande, Glorung on Thrall, and Ayakona on Rhaegar. And to the right side of the map, AK Face on Uther, we have Fury on Johanna, we see Crone on Kel'Thas, and Mike Udall on Sonya, and Rufflecopter on Tacita. A very strong setup here for Gale Force when it comes to the Shrine control. When we're talking about rotations, then with Muradin, Tyrande, definitely a lot of snipe potential on the side of the blue team here. But overall, once those Shrines are starting to play a huge role in the game, this is going to be incredibly difficult, I feel, for Cognitive to get the upper hand if they're not already ahead. So they're going to try and dominate the early game. Depends a bit, of course, also to see how the red team or Gale Force Esports is going to get into this game if they can get a few picks during the Shrine fights. They're already going for a block on the minion wave. And well, we have, as usual, Ayakona delaying his talent choices here for as long as he possibly can. Nothing unusual to be seen here. And I'm casting once again, of course, with Tetcher.
Indeed, we are. But I really liked how Cog started off that game. They used the Alv from Tyrande, immediately saw that Gale Force were going for that minion block, so they committed and dealt a lot of damage to that first tower in the game. So they just used the vision they had, immediately took a small advantage out of it, and now they're just joining in with the lane, sweeping as best they can, while Icona hiding up the top. Ooh, a lot of damage on the Thrall here, and down he goes, first blood.
Yeah, well played by Gale Force Esports. That's not really the start that you want to have when you are Cognitive. You're the one that's supposed to really dominate the early rotations. You have a Tyrande, you're running a Muradin, you have the follow-up damage of Li Ming and a Thrall in the mix as well. So they should be the ones who really dominate the rotation between the mid and the top. The exact opposite is the case right now. We're seeing Gale Force Esports winning that rotation, and that is a bit of a blow actually to, I would say, at least the comfort level of the side of Cognitive. And once those shrines are active, we could definitely see that game spiral out of the control of the blue team here.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it to find out. Some other interesting talents we should probably mention before we get 2 points of game with the objective just spawning. We're seeing Warpaint coming in from Sonya, going for a bit more of the sustain. Everyone who basically has the option of taking Kundra's Pursuit has taken it here. So they want all that mana regen so they can spam out their abilities. A very sustained style at the first couple of talents for Gale Force.
It was a nice trap attempt that we saw here in the middle, by the way, but then Fury kind of gave it away. And that was, of course, an issue. But it looked for a moment like they would be able to pick someone up here. It's not really the case. A huge lead already when it comes to the minion stacks, thanks to Sonya up at the top. And we're having everybody else now starting to rotate into the fight. But there is that Tyrande combo. And barely escaping. Rufflecopter is able to save himself here. 20 minions already claimed. That's a very nice lead, as both of the teams have now their level 4 abilities. With a double amplified healing Uther going into the talent as well, even the Conjurer's Pursuit here. So it looks very much like he took a bit of a page out of the book of the Chinese teams, who really like to play a more battle-heavy Uther. But this fight and this Punisher seems to be going in favor of Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, they have full control. As such, we immediately see Cognitive leaving this area. They're keeping someone up here to get ready to defend that Punisher. But for now, everyone else heading out into the lanes. Muradin actually playing a little aggressive here, wanting to try and find someone out of position. Will get found here, will take a bit of damage, but he's not going to get caught out. In fact, he's Muradin. He cannot get caught out.
Yeah, Rhaegar is, by the way, in the meantime, already at the bottom of the map, trying to soak some experience. So immediate rotations on the side of Cognitive, away from the Punisher, trying to go instead for the extra experience. It opens, of course, the top lane up once again, and, well, we have already nice lockdown against Thrall. Not going to do anything with that, though. First tower is down, second one is already about to fall. The Punisher is gone, though, so they have to retreat before that happens. Fight in the mid lane is also approaching, but all in all, still a slight lead now in experience on the side of Gale Force Esports. First Punisher, not quite too strong, so it's nothing too tricky just yet. But so far, the game definitely going the way of Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, they're holding a lot of damage right here. Very auto-attack focus filled on the Sonya. But they've also got themselves a lot of sustain in these for these fights. So they have the control. They have the XP, only slightly. It's very, very close. But with the single kill and the first couple buildings that they were able to grab, they are looking pretty good to move on. As long as they can just keep escalating this, then they're probably going to come out ahead when it comes to the heroics. They do already hit their level 7s first.
And level 7 is going to be a very important talent for Gale Force because they can finally now pick up Cleanse. They didn't really need it because of that, but at this point they can definitely just like run around that stun a little bit. We're seeing Size Vengeance taken, by the way, so a bit of an all-build focus that we saw from Cloud Knight's K1 Pro already earlier today in the Best of 3 series. Now that level 7 is also available for Cognitive. But I have to say that the early game did not really go the way that Cognitive probably hoped for, considering the setup that they're running here. I like a lot what we're currently seeing on the side of Gale Force Esports, and if they really concentrate and play a disciplined game here, I feel they have a very, very good... Yeah, they have a bit of an edge over their opponent at this point.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good for this. Oh, Gravity Labs just misses Castle there. He is able to escape, but a very large attack here coming in for Gale Force. They want this camp. Udal on the point, dodges out the route. Icona, though, coming in from behind, as is Faye. It's a full 5 versus 5 fight, actually. But we are seeing Castle backing out. Living Bomb will finish him off, and the camp is stolen. That is a huge play there by Gale Force.
Really well done. So once again we're seeing them with a bit of a risk here, but a very nice rotation with 5 heroes. Faye was a bit too late, she didn't see this, and of course she couldn't. I mean, she had no vision at this point, so she came in from the side, was not really safe. They started to retreat, they still lose Muradin, but now they have 2 camps pushing against them that they have to deal with, and the Shrine is already active on the map, which means that we will once again see a bit of a head start for Gale Force Esports, and they get the first few minions. Faye is going to try and poke, as does Glora, but in this case they are already a fair amount of minions behind. Good steals though, 5 already, but right now level 10s are going to start to become a bit of a concern. Once again, the engage here, Iron Skin has been used on Furious Johanna. They're starting to move in again, 11 minions ahead, and so far Gale Force is looking strong.
Yeah, they're trying to push in. They get the stuns onto Udal here, but Udal getting ready to turn around. He's got a huge sustain thanks to his team, but is going to back out. He did not want to get caught by that orb from Faye there. So he will wrap around, wait for a bit more healing from his team, and move back in using Whirlwind, clearing up the minions. 29 to 25 right now. More stuns coming in. A lot of damage from Johanna, but the counter stun from Kael'thas. And down goes Thrall here.
Nice, really well done. Great fight here for Gale Force once more. I want to point out, by the way, that no Shattered Ground was taken by Mike Goodall here. So he instead went into the focused attack as the level 4 talent. Shattered Ground is, of course, one of the talents that is oftentimes picked on this map in particular, because you can get a bit more value out of your slams during the Shrine time. As is now, though, we have at the bot lane a Punisher straight going through, and with level 10s already available, there's absolutely no way to defend. So they simply rotate back on lanes. We're seeing Cognitive right now at the top, at the mid lane, trying to gather experience to get their heroic abilities. But that gives an opportunity for Gale Force to really push through and dish out incredible damage against the wall that they keep already. They're really strong at opening up these lanes. I like it. It's a great decision. As long as they don't overstay, they're going to be great here. They even kill Muradin. Oh my god.
Yeah, so much damage coming out from Gale Force right now. Finally, heroics are hit for Cognitive, but they are currently a hero down and stuck in their own base at Gale Force. Gale Force have already left here. Also with their heroics, they have actually stayed a little bit different into, didn't go for the strategy before they might, instead sticking with the Wrath of the Berserker and the Blessed Shield on Sonya and Johanna. So sticking with how they've been building so far, with the very sustain-based, elongated fight style.
I have said it before during the draft and have to say it again. The draft that we're seeing on the side of Gale Force is just amazing for this map. They drafted not only for team fights, but they drafted for the objective, and it really shows. They do a whole lot of work here, and now that level 10s are ready for them, this is just going to increase. They have now the Wrath of the Berserker, which is going to be amazing for Sonya during these battles. They're seeing at the same time also Johanna with, of course, a Blessed Shield, which is going to make it a bit easier for her to get a good lockdown against opponents and help Kel'Thas to get his own lockdowns ready. So the setup that they're running is great, and they're already a level ahead. They opened up the bot lane, even the gate at the keep, which is amazing for them since they can always move in and take down a keep if they get another Punisher down there, or if they're able to maybe like get a couple of kills in before they move down. So they have a lot going for them right now, even an additional talent that they're about to pick up. So I like this position in the game a lot.
Yeah, they are really solid in this league. They have, and we have brought up this before with Icona not picking abilities. It's as heroic as Rhaegar. Are you serious, Icona?
I mean, like, yeah, it's totally going to be that bloodlust that's Leeming, of course.
Leeming takes Cannoneer.
Her auto attacks, that's what you are actually afraid of, right?
Well, she does have auto attack buffing abilities, and yet, but she won't get them until next talent.
Yeah, I suppose. I still don't see it though.
That would be the biggest plot twist ever. Cannoneer Leeming with Bloodlust. Cattle taking a bit of damage here. Gets Force Walled, but here's Muradin. He's able to tank it up and walk back up so that he's still grouped the rest of his team. A talent down for Cognitive. They are just playing very safe right now.
They should rotate onto the lanes. They cannot fight here. I mean, they can't really do anything here. They are not going to fight for that Punisher. They should definitely start to rotate down and make sure that they get the experience. I just don't see them moving in against the Shrink Ray in this case. I mean, they might. 13 talents are not too crazy, but that Shrink Ray alone would be something that I would be very unwilling to go up against, since it just like takes a lot of the threat of Brawl away. And as long as Michael Udall is still there with the Sonya, that's just one of the things that I wouldn't risk. They do though, and they are still there. Keep in mind that also the well is down. That's another big problem that they have. I really feel that this position is so unfavorable that they need to rotate away and soak experience, and they finally do it, but I personally believe that it's way too late. They should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, they were trying to get an advantage out of this by basically dropping Starfall where the fight happened, but Gale Force Esports just backed out of the Starfall and waited it out. And Gale Force did use more heroics in that fight, but it was still not enough for Gale Force to really push through and gain anything from it.
And Arcane Punisher is going to push through the top lane. Arcane Punishers have been nerfed a few patches ago, of course, but they are still incredibly strong. And that's one of the things they're going to use here. This time the camp, by the way, has not been stolen away. Both of the teams now on level 13 talents. So in this case, we're seeing again on the side of Li Ming the Glass Cannon. We're also seeing, of course, Sprint for Tyrande for the repositioning during the fights as a double support for them, so they don't need to go into the overflowing light. Late pick on Ayakona again, no surprise there. Good jump from Muradin, by the way. Cattle on point here using the Vulnerable Flames to his advantage. And they're really bursting that Punisher away, but they lose the wall. So that's the second wall at a keep that is falling now. And a bit of damage on the keep itself now too. Yeah, it's a very scary game for Cognitive. I mean, like, no doubts about it. As long as Gale Force Esports plays a disciplined setup here, they are in a very favorable position.
Focus onto Tassadar. They take him out there. Nice burst from Faye and a good setup from Castle and Carthon here.
So much for discipline, right?
Yeah, so much for discipline. They were able to get it. But Gale Force just slightly overextending just once. So that's all it takes against this kind of composition.
He could have moved to the bottom, and he moved up top, so that was a bit of a mistake. He came a bit too close and was playing with fire here. It is a slight chance that we are seeing now for Cognitive to make a play. The problem for them is that there's really not too much on the map to do. There's 3 camps right now, and it's going to be... they're going to get one. The question is Gale Force Esports willing to really commit to the other? I personally say they shouldn't, because, well, there's nothing really to gain for them right now. Already a trap set up by Cognitive, who realize that they have a chance to maybe get another kill here. Fury is using his abilities to just have a quick check on what's happening on the other side. But at the top lane, we're seeing Sonya just gathering experience, and that's all that they have to do right now. That camp, of course, is going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but as long as they don't lose somewhere down at the bot lane, they get level 16, way ahead of their opponent. And once that happens, they are going to be a talent ahead. So that's all that they're waiting for right now, and I like it. It's exactly what they should do. They put free damage on Cattle. It's like the perfect scenario for them. There is We have now Hardened Focus taken, Sun King's Fury after the Pyromaniac. It's a great setup that we're seeing for them, and I really like their decision to let both of the camps go and instead just simply aim for the level 16.
Yeah, like the only problem they have right now is that camp in the bot lane, but with that being where the objective is, it works out perfectly for them. So they have to send Sonya down there to clear up. Right now, a little bit of damage being traded for both teams in the mid lane, but camp's going to be cleared in the bot lane, so Gale Force is going to have zero pressure on them when they go for the objective, and will still have that talent advantage. So they are in prime position for another Punisher, which will be pushing the bot lane, where there is already no fort. They can either split off and get fort in the mid lane, or they can push with it and try and get some pressure on the Pussy.
Oh, they should definitely go for keep here. I mean, that's a free keep. So if they don't make a huge mistake, that's definitely a free keep. I like the decision at the top to take the camp away and push through the fort, so at least they will be able to get even talents. That's going to be great for them. It's nice decision making on Cognitive, and after they just like wasted a little bit too much time at the earlier top shrine, I really like that choice. But we already have Uth at the bot lane together with Ruffle Copter, and I really like that they are just trying to go for a bit of counter pressure to path the way for the Frozen Punisher. So that's really nice thinking on their part. Of course, the B-backs have already been activated. At the top, the fort is eventually going to fall, but they are sacrificing it. They're just simply saying, like, yeah, let that fort fall. We don't care as long as we get a keep, and that's what they're currently waiting for here. Nice, Owl. I like it. Carthen already revealing the trap, but here comes now the play at the bot lane, and as they sacrifice the fort at the top to the camp that has been taken by Cognitive, they need to go for camp. For here.
Yeah, fought for a keep. That's what they're trying here. Cattle getting focused. The Sundering is not bad here. Udal fighting with Glarog over here. The Starfall is very good, and that's forcing Michael Udal to back up here. But the counter engage onto Parole is still giving the Punisher. Still going very ham onto the fort here. There's a good start onto Murder, but with Avatar, he's so hard to take down. But they get Tyrande off to the side.
They get Tyrande. It was a pretty shitty Phoenix on the other hand, though. That didn't really do too much for them. But now they are still about to take that keep, or are they? The Punisher is gone. A nice poke from Li Ning. Fury is incredibly low, but Thrall is dead. Johanna might have fallen too, but it's still a 4 versus 3. And now they are jumping on Faye, which allows them to... Oh, the shield on Gelfas, but look at Cattle. He's so low and he explodes. Now it's Li Ming who dies next. Ayakona is the only one surviving here, and that is going to eliminate the keep. The fort as the top lane has fallen in the meantime. There's the kill. They take that keep, but now they have to move back and make sure that the camp is not going to get more, because that was a very good camp. I love the decision by Cognitive to take that before the fight. It was a perfect situation for them to make that move. If they wouldn't have done that, they would have lost so much more and would have been so much behind right now. But even though they lost the keep, at least they opened up the top lane for future pressure plays.
Yeah. Right now, we've only just had people go back, so actually the keep will take quite a bit of damage from the Shaman here. Finally, Tastar coming in with a shield, and that will save it here. But during that fight, Cognitive were actually looking not too bad for a while. They got so many members of Gale Force so low, but just the amount of sustain we saw out of them here, Uther especially, and Tastar doing an amazing job keeping people alive. Why? And there's the owl.
Value right there. Shield value.
They'll never get through this wall. They can't go through top lane now.
The one thing that I want to say is that in the last fight, one of the things that I really didn't like was that Phoenix that we saw there. It was a wasted heroic ability on the side of Groen, because it was just not in range of the keep. If he puts it a little bit farther up, then at least he gets constant damage against the structure as well. It would have made their life a bit easier. I feel he was a bit afraid of going in so deep, because he would have exposed himself, so he could have held it back a little bit. But right now, they are still about in that 20, so he has still most damage of his team, so he's doing a great job here at the back line. But in those situations, one ult that doesn't really get a lot of value for a team can always be a bit of a downfall in the end. So for now, just let's look at what their heroic abilities are going to be. The Storm talents here, they're having them in play, and there it is, the Arcane Power. We are seeing Redemption, Indestructible, Rewind, and also, of course, Ignore Pain on the side of Sonya. And this is going to be another easy Punisher for the team. They're already working on the wall here. It's a 2-level lead for them. They have a lot of time to capitalize on those 20s, and they are definitely going to try and do that. So once again, Gale Force Esports in a great spot.
Yeah, they're looking super solid. They have more damage. They already had a huge amount of sustain. They've just added more. So it's just going to be... It was already almost impossible to kill anyone on this side. It's now even harder. So that, for now, like you said, they're just going to make the most of their advantage. They're going to get the objective. Sonya's just been doing that on her own, and they have set up perfectly for this Punisher to come in the mid lane. They're going to 100% get this fort. Question of how much they can get elsewhere, because Thrall currently busy in the bot lane, because that lane has been pushing up catapults.
Yeah, it's pushing, but just look at the push in the mid lane here. They went through the wall and they already put the pressure onto the fort, so they're once again just like trying to make sure that the Punisher is going to move straight through the mid lane, goes for the keep. And with their Storm talents, they can make those plays, they can really force it. I really like the way that they are playing this right now. They got a great draft for the map. And it was just basically, at least thus far, Cognitive being outdrafted and then outplayed because Gale Force Esports has the discipline to run this draft. If they don't make a massive mistake here, they should be the victor. But we all know that in Heroes of the Storm, all that it takes is one bad decision, one wrong move, and all of a sudden, especially with leaving on the other side, it could be a ton of resets and the laser show could take you down. Punisher is already eliminated. Keep, on the other hand, is falling. Again, Gale Force Esports is moving back.
Yeah, and they need to, because Glorong was looking to try and get them here with that Sundering, but they don't have level 20 still. They've only just started on level 19, really. So they still can't really afford to engage. They're down 2 keeps, and they're still just stuck in their base defending. The Owls, though, have been very solid here from Tyrande, giving some very good vision as to what Gale Force Esports are doing, and that gives a lot of freedom to Cognitive on how much they can roam out onto the map now that they are basically stuck in their base.
Yeah, they are stuck. You're totally right about it. Like, I mean, that's just putting into words what's happening here because they can't really move out. They don't know exactly where the opponent is. The Owls help them a little bit to judge where they can go and where they can't, but they are really playing passive now, and I mean, they have to. They want to try and go for level 20, so they know fully well that at this point they're extremely vulnerable still. So if they move out too far, there could also be a trap, and that's what Gale Force Esports is going for right now. They're trying to actually go for Cattle, but he is keeping his cooldown on the Dwarf Toss, can always jump out, and level 20 is just around the corner. That is the best chance that Cognitive will ever have to come back into this game once that they have the Storm talents. 2 keeps down or not, they haven't really taken down anything except for the fort at the top lane, so there's a lot of experience to be had there as well, but it's all about that next Punisher then. Keep in mind though, that with decent positioning on the map, we could even see a bit of a backdoor attempt happening by Gale Force Esports if they feel that they have a chance to pull that off.
Yeah, quite possibly. And Gale Force have been controlling where the fights are happening, keeping them at the bot lane. So even if they do lose a person or two, basically Cognitive have to go the maximum distance possible in order to get to the base and try and end. So it's just even more difficult for them. Like you said, level 20 is now available for Cognitive. We got the Hardened Shield, the Tal Rashar's elements here, the extra ability damage here from Li Ming, going full damage here on the Orb. Celestial Wrath, the Bolt of the Storm, and Icona just continuing to stay with nothing.
Both of the teams taking their bruiser camp, very important so that they cancel each other out, but now the lanes are still pushing, and the problem is that the bot lane, not only do we have catapults marching in, we have a Khaldor camp as well. So that is an issue. As you pointed out, Iacon hasn't really taken his talent just yet, so Storm Shield or Rewind is going to be it. Nice move here by Rufflecopter moving away, but look at the count in stacks already. 20 minions. This is an issue, and the bot lane is still pressuring. It's going to go for the core, and eventually it's going to do damage there. We're having Rewind taken now for Rhaegar, a bit late, but he did, and only 14 minions missing, and with all the AoEs that they have, they should easily be able to claim those, and then the Punisher's going to go straight for core.
Starfall being dropped here, though, with it Cognitive. They need to win the fight and end now, but Thrall is already deleted before Sundering is even activated, and we're seeing Gale Force going to be grabbing the objective and pushing back Cognitive here. The core has taken a little bit of poke from Cognitive, but minions right now are holding back the camp for the moment, but the way is now clear. There's a Punisher and a very angry set of Gale Force Esports coming in here. He jumped out of the stun into the stun, did a Mirrodin there, and now he's taking a lot of damage, but Hardened Shield so good at keeping him alive for now.
Yeah, they are starting to move in, and they are gonna go for game. Oh my god, the Punisher jumping with both feet right into his face, taking the kill here. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, there's no doubt anymore how this game is gonna end. 10 kills against 2, level 22 versus level 20. Gale Force Esports with a great show here in game number 1 against Cognitive. A Divine Shield thrown out just because he can, and this score is being dropped. GG, and game number 1 ends in favor of Gale Force Esports with the lead now against Cognitive here at the Dreamhack Austin, the NA Summer Regional Final. Boys and girls, Game number 2 coming up. Gale Force Esports, they had an amazing draft on game number 1 against Cognitive, and they won the game because of it. Now we're on Sky Temple, and Cognitive has to change things up a little bit during the draft if they want to be victorious here, not lose to Gale Force Esports with an 0-2. Dehaka, one of the globals, banned out, and Gale Force actually going straight into a ban on Tyrande. Apparently a bit afraid of those rotations. Of course, on this map, it's quite important to have decent rotations. You need a good bot laner as well if you want to have that solo lane set up. And with the Haka banned out, we could actually see a bit of a priority on Falstad for one of the teams. There's a couple of heroes that really excel at this point. We could see an early Kalthus, we could see even an Illidan, or we could see that Falstad being played. And as Cognitive is picking up an Illidan, we already know the name of the game. It's going to be, can we kill Illidan, or is he going to kill us?
Yeah, so Gale Force just taking all of that advantage that they were just given, picking up all the range damage that they need. Falstad and Kalthus. Kalthus giving them a little bit of extra stun. Falstad with the lightning rod can just focus Illidan very aggressively, and they have Mighty Gust to disengage if they need be. So Gale Force really just seizing the damage by the horns here.
Now, what does it mean? It means that all of a sudden Tacita is still open. So you can still go for Tacita. There's actually a lot of options for Cognitive right now how they could play this. They could go for their supports right away. They could, for example, say, all right, we're going to get the Tacita and we're going to get the Rhaegar or the Uther. Or they could just simply say, what exactly is going to give Illidan the most trouble here? Do we, for example, pick that Muradin away? Do we try and go for an early ETC here? They have a lot of options of how they can actually run the draft now that they already secured themselves Illidan. Gale Force definitely prioritizing the Falstad for the potential disengage with the Mighty Gust. They have Kalthus, of course, also for the disable and the spread. They picked two incredibly strong heroes for this map, and I think they're going to be fine with it. But they still need a few heroes that can directly counter Illidan. And interestingly enough, Cognitive is thinking about that Li Ming. Now, I like Li Ming this early a lot more on Sky Temple with the setup that they have here than I did on the last map. But I have to say that I would be a bit surprised if they would not at least pick Tacita to make sure that they have the double support for Illidan.
Yeah, I would very much like Tacita now. Although Gale would get into a situation there where they could ban out the Uther or the Rhaegar and then pick the other one, but that still leaves Kharazim, that still leaves stuff like that. So overall, the Tacita is solid. It gives them, like you said, the double support, gives a huge amount of protection and efficiency to Illidan here, and it is good for the vision on this map. Vision, very important, especially when you're in that lower jungle area around the throw pit.
So Tacita is expected taken. The range damage is there for Cognitive. They need a tank and they need a second support. So Gale Force could actually, in this case, ban out one of the main supports. They could ban, for example, an Uther or Rhaegar and pick the other one. That would leave a potential, I'd say probably a Kharazim on the side of Cognitive. Interestingly enough, it's a Muradin ban. Now that surprises me for a couple of reasons. If anything, I would have expected Cognitive to ban out Muradin because his reverberation build is still very strong. It seems like Gale Force is going to pick that ETC over Muradin and wanted to deny the hero. Whereas Brightwing makes sense as a ban because he's one of the best counter players to Illidan since he can just simply use the polymorph. And as expected, there's the ETC. He's combined with an Uther, which is going to leave Rhaegar for Cognitive, and then they need a front lineup. Rhaegar Johanna seems at this point like a pretty solid solution for Cognitive.
Yeah, for those who are wondering a little bit about the Brightwing, she does have the polymorph for the Illidan. She would have just been very solid, and AKA Face is very proficient on her, so it's a very solid ban. And like you said, Rhaegar coming in, and the front line are going to be the Johanna and Gale Force bringing out the Sonya again.
Sonya is crazy good against Illidan because she can really get that on-point damage going and has also quite a bit of survivability. It's one of the reasons why oftentimes when you pick Illidan, she is banned out or immediately being picked. Normally, when you see a team early on going for a Sonya ban on the first ban rotation, it's more or less a dead giveaway that the team is trying to play Illidan. In this case, though, Cognitive was actually valuing the ban on Brightwing higher than Sonya. I personally find that a bit surprising. I can understand it. I really thought they would be more afraid of Sonya though than they are of Brightwing, but apparently that's not the case. Dehaka makes sense as a first ban though because he has just disable plus also the global presence that you want to deny. So guys, we're going to jump into the game number 1 on Sky Temple, and well, we're going to find out if is it still in the game. Can Illidan be defeated? Yes or no? That's the question. Gale Force Esports, they have a very solid draft. I actually like their setup a lot. Cognitive with a very strong Illidan setup. Let's not get that wrong here, but I still feel with this setup that we're seeing right now, Gale Force, they have a lot of options in this case. So I'm curious, and we're going to find out on Sky Temple which team is going to take the victory. Game number 2, everybody, is starting up now on Sky Temple. And to the left side, we have Mike Udall on Sonya. We have Crone on Kalthas, aka Face on Uther, Fury on ETC, and Rufflecopter is playing Falstad for Gale Force Esports. To the right side of the map, Caterpillar on Johanna. We have Faye on Liming, Ayakona on Rhaegar, Corthan Luck on Tacita, and Glorag is playing Illidan. It is going to be an interesting game for sure. Oh, sorry. I'm getting the hiccups here. Very interesting game for sure, and yeah, I like both drafts. It's all a question of how you can go up against Illidan. I think right now, Gale Force Esports has all the tools that they need to win the game and keep track of Illidan. But it's going to be a matter of fight control and discipline for both.
It's going to be a little bit harder. Right now, bit of trading right now. Coming out, Illidan going very deep, but wanting to leave. He can't afford to get stunned out by Uther or anything and then locked down and focused. But yeah, like we just mentioned, Illidan in the game, which is quite surprising. He was managed to slip through the draft here, and he is starting off with the immolation, so getting in that wave clear.
A couple of things that I really want to point out is that Illidan, of course, is going to have a tough time, especially after level 13, when we have the Shrink Ray and Uther. That's going to be a huge tool. We have a Sonya for the extra damage against him. We're having at the same time now also Cohen for lockdown. We have the stuns on Uther, on ETC. And that is going to do a whole lot of work here. Falsa can always try and go for a quick disengage with the Mighty Gustin later on. And I feel like even with Stage Dive being used earlier on today by Cloud9, it's still a very huge possibility that we are going to see them go into a mosh pit since they already run the Uther for the Divine Shield in this setup. So overall, I think the setup for them is great. If you have to deal with an Illidan, you want to do it with this setup, or one very similar to this one. So great draft from Gale Force Esports once again, but Illidan, we all know how strong he can be, and with double support behind him, he is a very, very scary opponent to go up against.
Yeah, but you already mentioned another scary opponent in this game, the ETC, and look at the amount of interrupts from the side of Cognitive here. They have two, technically, with the Johanna and the potential Wave of Force, and, well, they wanted to. They could use the Hunt as well. We have a quick pause here. But overall, not a huge amount of interrupts for ETC, but he could, if he wants to, just go a Stage Dive instead, but like you said before, I feel very comfortable with the mosh pit here.
The monitors got turned off. Now that's secret tactics right there. Can actually see one of the admins, or one of the managers going over, then accidentally tripping over a cable. Like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. What do you mean I turned all of their monitors off? I didn't know. I'm very, very sorry. Yeah.
This was a thing. There was one tournament. It was just a fun one, Trial of the Naga. And during the game, Bling ran out and unplugged his opponent's mice. Just mid-game.
Oh, well, but then it kind of made sense in the fun tournaments.
Yeah.
But for now, guys, well, they have a bit of a restart. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. So first of all, we're having now, of course, both of the temples active, and this is like the first temple phase. So we have a lead in experience already. And I mean, this is a pretty heavy lead at this point, actually. An entire level right now. And there's really nothing that has to be gathered. There's one wave at the bot lane that can still be claimed by Ayakona. It also means, though, that Ayakona is not helping out at the top or in the middle. So that's already a very solid experience situation right now on the side of Team Cognitive. Gale Force Esports. We have in the mid lane still a trade between lanes here. Falstad is starting to make his way, first of all, to the Watchtower. He's claiming Vision, which is going to help them against the rotation here. We are seeing also like 3 heroes up at the top where they can help out Fury to just get those shots. And we have always Falstad an option to just either move to the bottom, get that temple right here in the middle, or instead help out up at the top. So it's actually like a very nice setup for them already. And if they take a few of the structures down, an early level 4 talent would more or less secure them the remaining shots on the temples. So Cognitive has to be very careful, especially since for the fights, at least right now, they are lacking their healer.
Yeah, this is basically what Gale Force is trying to do. They're trying to snowball it, just get those levels so far ahead. They don't need to send someone down to the bot lane to soak against the Rhaegar here, because they're just going to get all the structures and get the XP that way.
And at the same time now, we have Sonya with Warpaint. She's going to be one of the, she's one of the tools that they really have to lock Illidan down. Or not to lock him down, but to really put the damage on him. Illidan is one of the heroes that is going to try later on to use the Metamorphosis to just dodge the most of the damage that he can be stopped on. So once that he finds himself in trouble, he's just going to jump out and he's going to rely on Rhaegar with the Ancestral and also, of course, on Tacita with those shields. This is why level 7 is going to be a huge talent on the side of the Team Cognitive, because they need that Carlos Embrace so that they can actually actually preload the shields on Illidan and the rest of the team. Leeching Plasma on level 4 shouldn't really be a surprise. I mean, that's going to be the talent that they will try to go for, since Illidan can really capitalize on it so highly. So level 7 is definitely going to give them a bit of a lead. Illidan usually gains a lot of momentum towards the later stage of the game when he has more survivability thanks to his talents. Right now, it is a bit of a better position that we are seeing for Gale Force Esports as is. Especially at the top lane, they have 3 stuns already lined up here, as you can see. They have ETC with the power slide, they have Krohn already with the gravity lapse, and we are having the stun on Uther now too. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. So these 3 shouldn't really be able to do too much. If they can get somehow a hold on False, they might be able to get something done here, but they don't have any lockdown. So right now, we're seeing that unfold in front of us already. As expected, the jump away. Shrines soak at the top lane is happening. Level 3 versus 3. Oh, apparently during the pause, there was a bit of a problem with the overlay, as you can see. They jumped 1.5 level up. So apparently overlay showing the wrong experience here during the break, which is actually interesting. So not as far behind as we thought here. That makes this for a very different setup now.
Yeah, that's actually a really big deal. Icona was able to grab a bit of XP in the bot lane as well, but like you said, they are in fact very even. So both teams with the level 4 talents looking to move in on this middle temple, because Illidan has been left alone in the top one. In fact, it's been really good for Cognitive, getting a lot of shots, and Cattle are trying to hold this middle temple, but he is his team not really wanting to commit to this at the moment.
Yeah, so we still have the poke here up at the top. The temple has been taken. Falstad is flying in as Illidan is now making his way back down, trying to help out here. But the fight is so far not looking too bad. Here comes Illidan. They need to somehow control him. Whereas Sonya, she's now starting to move in. The shrine or temple is about to be taken over by Cognitive. Gale Force is starting to lose shots here. That's an issue, especially with the poke on Faye. Great poke, actually. Michael Udall is moving away, and Fury is also on the retreat. So as is, during the break screen, as we already said before, apparently a bit of a bug on the overlay, showing them with an entire level down, which was not the case. But right now we have a slight lead actually for Cognitive, so that helps them a lot. We have on level 4, as expected, Leeching Plasma taken, and we're seeing now also Triumvirate claimed once again on Li Ming. That orb build that we've seen earlier already in the first game is getting a bit more popular these days. Cloud9 has played a very similar setup when they were using K1 Pro on the hero, with great success actually on this very same map.
Yeah, and Faye is very scary with it. We saw in that last fight doing huge amounts of damage to pretty much everyone, hitting the maximum amount of heroes that she could with those orbs, and that is the point of the build. You're hitting a huge amount of damage, or almost 1,000 in the late game, with still a fairly short cooldown. You're hitting everyone with it.
Up to the top lane, we have Rothercopter. He doesn't have Boomerang yet, so he can't just like blast these waves away. The bot lane pressure is also on. We are seeing no camps taken there just yet. Both of the teams have not gone for the Siege Giants, but we are seeing Illidan rotating towards them now, which makes perfect sense since he just claimed his level 7 talent, which is of course once again reflexive block for survivability. Friend of Foe on level 4 is going to help him with that now too. Kala's Embrace is ready. We're seeing again Zay's Vengeance, so it's getting really popular here on the North American server to go for the orb build. Rothercopter at the top lane is now picking up the level 7 for his team. He will have to be back at some point, but first of course he wants to defend against this. The problem is that up at the bottom of the map we are already seeing the pressure play from Cognitive as they're waiting for Temple number 2 to be released.
Yeah, they're just keeping the pressure on right now because they want to be in the correct area, and they already have people in every single lane. So they know they can afford a little bit of this aggression. They have full vision, so feeling quite comfortable with this.
Then of course just waiting for his chance to jump in here. Nice experience lead that we are already seeing for them. That's of course going to be mitigated a little bit once that the waves are taken at the top and in the middle. But for now the temple is being announced. Falstad flying back to again push Cattle back. Had to go into the Iron Skin as well. But everybody else is still in the middle. Only a few heroes at the bottom of the map, and that's especially on the side of Gale Force Esports. Falstad is going to make his way in a bit later. Nice move by Fury, denying them the kill. That would have been a great kill for Cognitive, but he had his power slide cooldown ready. Falstad is still at the top, shots already soaked, and they are moving back for now. They might actually just leave Falstad at the top, trying to pressure through the structures.
I'm getting knocked via the Guardian there into ETC, but ETC not wanting any of that. We appear to have another little pause here. Apparently some issues are over at the event.
Yeah, so let's just take a quick look at the situation right now. 5 heroes at the bot lane for Cognitive. They're in a pretty decent spot here, having at the top only Falstad. And Falstad has been starting to put some pressure on it, but he's already looking like he is going to move down to the bot lane. So they have to make a choice right now. They can either say, let's just simply let the temple go, but then it will go not only through the wall, but also start to pressure the fort. Falstad will have to do roughly the same amount of damage at the top lane if they want to make up for that. They could make that choice, or Falstad flies down if they actually want to fight. With ETC still in the middle, they could actually use Fury to soak that wave here, try to aim with a Falstad pressure at the top lane for an earlier level 10, or at least for an even trade. So there's a couple of options that they have. If ETC moves down on the other hand, and Falstad flies in, then they have to fight soon, because not only is gonna there be this one tower here destroyed in a couple of shots, but it's also gonna aim closer and closer to level 10, and once the heroic ability hits for Cognitive, with the lead that they have, Gale Force Esports will not have a good time here. So they have to make that choice soon. Either they move down to the bot lane right now, or they just abandon that, try to poke a little bit, make sure that nobody is moving through the structures and tries to push the fort manually. Or, yeah, they can keep like Falstad still at the top lane and try to put the pressure in here.
Yeah, and Falstad, like you said, is putting on the pressure, but it is the question, how long do they want to take that risk? Because the second the level 10s hit, Cognitive can just go super aggressive, and there's still quite a bit to go. Not too much they could keep up for Nighty King Gale Force, thanks to that Falstad soak. So they may just leave everyone here and make it so they get level 10 as quick as possible, so that they don't have all that pressure on them for a huge amount of time.
Yeah, another thing is that when we are looking also at the damage and siege output, we of course have Falstad by now with decent siege. He has his boomerang talent, which is going to just like push this even higher. Tazada plays a similar role now for the opponent's side. It's all about the sustain that we're seeing right now. The double support that we are seeing Cognitive run is just completely dedicated to just keep Illidan alive. That's going to be very important for them. Whereas Uther alone and all the stuns that we see are going to try with Illidan then later on. The mosh pit is going to be important for that if they use it. And we're also of course seeing Falstad with a potential Mighty Gust just like simply move away. If Illidan is dead, that would actually be the best case scenario for them. On the other hand, as long as Illidan is alive and is starting to wreak havoc in the backline or even the front line of Team Gale Force Esports, Li Ming is going to have a fantastic time just like throwing out those orbs. And that is one of the things that they're of course banking their hopes on right now. They want to spam these orbs while space is created by Illidan and just simply poke from a distance so that Faye gets her resets and can take heroes down. And that's the entire idea of the setup here. So engage is going to be important. It is still a bit of an option. Nah. Oh, yeah, Mike Audal is not going to get Leap on a Sonya. I mean, sometimes when you have a Kel'Thas or a Tyrande against you, something along those lines with not really a huge amount of escape, you can go for it. But there's a cleanse against them. There's also, of course, like the teleport. Mike is, and he needs to sustain as well on his Wrath of the Berserker.
Yeah, they have an Uther on their side as well. The Wrath of the Berserker is going to be really solid for them to actually push in and fight Illidan in a sort of 1 versus 1. Countdown happening, and we're going to get back into the game. Looks like we're going to be good for the moment. Nope, never mind. We lost Udal.
Yeah, so just after we see one hero coming back, apparently the second one drops now too. They are Mike DC'd. They're actually staggering the disconnects here. Look at that. Interesting. Yeah. Joking about the DDoS. This is, of course, like an offline event, guys. But yeah, there might be a couple of issues that we have at the venue. We have seen Rufflecopter moving a little bit farther down. So I guess at this point, with ETC also moving down to the bot lane, we can safely say that they're going to take the challenge, right? They're going to try and fight here.
Yeah, they probably are. And that's actually going to be very interesting, though, because Sonya bot actually has moved very far forward. Faye could try and drop a little bit of damage here, but hopefully should be fine. There's still a lot of shots left from this temple as well, which is why this challenge is actually going to be very effective. They're only just behind experience. The level 10 will still be hit by Cognitive first if things keep going as they are, but it will not be too far behind for Gale Force Esports to try and re-engage and sort of counter here.
One of the good things for Cognitive is also that they have full vision of Falstad because of that watchtower. So they're going to definitely see when he's going to fly in. At this point, they're well aware that it's a 4 versus 5. So they're just saying, like, guys, keep on the temple, keep pushing them out. Falstad isn't here yet. And once he starts flying in, we can also, of course, see Korthenlak going for the Oracle to make sure that he knows exactly where Falstad flies into. So that's another huge asset that they have right now, that they have the vision that they need. And apparently, those problems that we have with these disconnects are not only affecting Gale Force Esports, Mike Udal on the Sonya, but also a few of the other heroes. So, guys, I guess we're gonna wait a moment until we have everybody back in the game, because this could actually take a while.
Yeah, there just appears to be some issues. It doesn't appear to be on our end for now. Said help. Everything's wrong. But no. So yeah, this is really interesting right now as to who it's all down to who gets 10 really first and if they can make anything out of it.
Okay, Cognitive seems to be okay now. Apparently
Alright,
even Faye is back. That's interesting because it looked for a moment like all of them would be dropping out. They are ready. What? You guys okay also? I'm a little bit worried that nobody on the side of Gale Force Esports even replies.
Yeah, that is concerning. We've only seen 2 of them disappear from our screen, but the fact they aren't replying is quite worrying.
It's a bit of a tell that they're not okay. Chloe is
Yeah.
already sitting there like, you okay? But yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like shaking at someone unconscious. Just like say something if you're fine.
I guess we're gonna have them back in a moment or two, but until then, we will probably have to wait to see what Gale Force Esports is up to. At least Cognitive is ready. Back to business, boys and girls. So apparently there was a bit of a problem at the venue, as you probably already assumed. Right now, we have the situation that we talked about, a team fight at the bot lane for the temple. And nice poke here again on the side of Cognitive, but at least for now control over the shrine has been taken over the temple. Shots are being fired, literally. That level 10 isn't ready yet. Cattle is still down here trying to poke a bit, and everybody else of Cognitive is starting to move now too. Illidan is jumping in deep, gets the shield of Tacita, but immediately being focused by Rufflecopter there as well. Has to move back using his threat of foe to get away. Nice shots on the other hand against the rest of Gale Force Esports, and as we have level 10 coming in now on the side of Gale Force Esports, Cognitive, Gale Force Esports is moving back for now, and we seem to have another problem as we are having them pausing the game once again.
Yeah, I love the combo that Cognitive are using here. Using the Johanna with the Condemn to pull everyone as close together as possible so Li Ming just gets the maximum efficiency out of these orbs. It's working very well, as you can see, due to the current health bars of Gale Force.
Yeah, so for now we're having again the control taken at the bot lane temple here, and that of course gives them again an experience lead since they are about to take that tower down, and that should actually put them very close to level 10. If you include the wave that is currently here in the middle of the lane, then that is definitely going to be an heroic ability. So Falstad and boys, like all these guys, have to make sure that they are moving back for now, because if they don't, then it's going to be a disaster. I mean, Illidan with the Metamorphosis, once they're starting to jump in here, it is going to be the reckoning. So they have to make sure that they move Falstad back top, ideally, to make sure that he gets a bit of extra experience. But yeah, that level 10 is going to be a pretty big deal. So guys, we're going to wait, of course, once again until everybody is back once more. Of course, the players and everybody else is at the venue, and we've been told that the venue is having a couple of issues, and that caused a few of the disconnects that we have. I hope that they can fix that soon. We might have 1 or 2 short breaks during the series, but for now we're just going to wait until the players are going to be ready again. And we're in the game again, guys. So as you can see, the match is still ongoing. For us, actually, roughly half an hour. Was it? No, it was more, right? It was roughly an hour.
It was more than that. I've watched a movie in the time we've taken for this.
Okay, so we had roughly an hour break, but we are back, and as you can see, what we said earlier is still true. We have level 10 right now on the board, on the side of Cognitive, and they're starting to jump in. The wave of force has been taken, makes sense against the ETC on the other side. Gale Force Esports, they need their level 10, and that's where they're already committed to experience, so at the top lane and the mid lane for right now. So yeah, it's actually looking pretty sweet for both of the teams. Not too much has fallen at the bot lane, the temple, or the rest of it was at least claimed by Cognitive. But yeah, now we are very interested still to see which team is going to claim victory here. And of course, we still don't have a single kill on the board.
Yeah, both teams, they have had a couple of scuffles, especially at the very start of the game, but neither one so far has been able to seal the deal in terms of kills. Heroic-wise, both teams now have them. We do, in fact, see that wave of force for the Li Ming to try and interrupt that mosh pit. Whereas ETC, like we said, running the mosh pit, Sonya with the wrath of the Berserker.
I'm really curious to see how that Divine Shield mosh pit is going to come to play. It's all about really shutting down Illidan, and if you trap him in the mosh pit, that would be great. There's of course always the cleanse of Rhaegar to consider. He has quite a few tools here where he can save Illidan, and Metamorphosis is another thing that Illidan can use in these fights. So Cognitive, they have a very strong setup. We've been talking about it a lot, but now it's really that team fight, like, it's really team fight time. Now we have level 10 on both sides, and we could see some huge 5 versus 5 commitments by both teams, and that's of course exactly what we're hoping for here too.
Yeah, for now, though, both teams, they're sort of not really looking for team fights. They're just doing objectives. In the bot lane, we see the push from Gale Force Esports. In the top lane, the Bruiser camp has just been taken. Icona, once again, not taking his heroic, teasing us with that Li Ming Bloodlust, which is never going to happen.
Yeah, he really likes to do that, but of course it is going to be an Ancestral. With the Illidan composition and no other auto attackers, it just makes perfect sense. But here's the time right now. 2 temples about to be active, and this is where the teams are really going to look for an opportunity to fight. Both of them on level 12, nobody heading into that level 13 just yet. Bot lane is taken currently by Rhaegar. Up here we have Fury already on the temple, but everybody else is getting ready. Li Ming with the pokes, Faye is there. Mike Udall on his Sonya is already trying to zone out a bit. And yes, they are looking for that fight. Rhaegar is joining up now in the mid lane. It's a 4 versus 4 for now. But to the right side, we already have a bit of a scrimmage going on between Illidan and Sonya.
Yeah, forceful use to zone everyone else away from these two, but the Wrath of the Berserker will be expiring quite soon. He's just trying to take some damage here and also deal some damage to keep that up off cooldown, but it's ready for when they actually go for the engagement. Pastar is quite a way away. Good stun onto Johanna here, and Johanna is surviving. Mighty Gust actually saves her there.
What was that? Oh my god, first the Ancestral healing is misclicked. Did not hit Johanna, who was supposed to heal, and then we have Rufflecopter saving her with a Mighty Gust. Now, there were fails on both sides in that fight. They were both looking for a good situation and start into the engagement. In the end, then, it is actually, yeah, in this case, Cognitive who was able to claim the temple, but there was quite a few iffy situations in that last fight. That could have definitely been a kill on the main tank on the side of Cognitive.
Yeah, Johanna was pretty dead. She had the Living Bomb even attached to her that would have killed her, but the Mighty Gust just pushed her out of the fight there. So he is now, Cattle now back to full health and ready to fight again. And as such, Cognitive taking control of this bottom temple for now. They have everyone there, whereas Gale Force Esports are just on the way. We have the Kel'Thas and the Sonya only just arriving now, which is why they haven't gone in yet, but they're looking for their angle. Everything's about to come off cooldown, including Phoenix and Gus.
13 versus 13. Here comes that Shrink Ray that can now be used against Illidan. Oh, the burst against Johanna. This time he's not so lucky. First kill in the game in favor of Gale Force Esports. Well done here. Great stun lock against it. Didn't even have the opportunity to go for the Blessed Shield. Great move on the side of Gale Force. So they get the kill and they're trying to burst down the structures now. Sonya is taking, of course, the bot temple. There's a lot of damage done already here by Gale Force Esports. Very nice start in the game, especially considering that they're already 1-0 in this best of 3 series.
Yeah, that was a very nice turn by them. They did waste Mosh Pit, tried to drop that to try and trap Illidan, but he was able to metamorphosis out a split second before it came down. But it does mean they now have to wait for that exceptionally long cooldown. But then again, Illidan now has 55 seconds left before he's going to be bringing up metamorphosis, but that, of course, is lowered by his trait.
Also, a pretty interesting move is actually that we're now seeing on level 13 the Giant Killer talent taken for Falstad. He didn't even bother to go straight into the Static Shield here to give himself a little bit more survivability. Go for the boss is maybe a little bit ambitious, and they move back since they realize that is probably not the best idea here. But both of the team now on 13, which leave us with Mystical Spear on the side of Sonya. We're having the Pyromaniac taken on Kel'Thas. And besides that, again the cooldown reduction for Rhaegar with Glass Cannon on Li Ming and Burning Rage on Johanna.
Yeah, so a bit of extra damage for Johanna, who is being focused quite hard here, but here's Johanna. She has exceptional amount of tankiness, so she feels comfortable giving up on any extra shield talent she could have taken as well.
At the top lane, Rufflecopter is trying to take down a few of the structures. He's also focusing on the walls. He needs to really get back now, though. That could maybe fly away. Uh-oh, that Johanna could be an issue. Mighty Gust used. Johanna is there. He should be able to reach the well. Is being stunned. Commitment. Blessed Shield was used for this one, and they get the kill. It was actually really well done. Falstad would have been able to get away if not for that Blessed Shield. Cooldown sacrificed.
They were trying to sneak the boss while he was dying. They get the point, and we're not going to see the rush. Icona could have maybe rushed the point. Instead, we're going to see Cognitive try and pick up some kills out of this. Mosh Pit is back up, so they could try and turn this around. Good stun onto Illidan, who was trying to trap people there. And another stun by Kel'Thas. Everyone's on the run. Illidan finally giving up on the chase.
Wow, I mean, that was a very nice escape here, especially that Shrink Ray on Illidan helped them a lot. If Illidan gets a hold of one of these heroes, then they are, of course, going to be toast. But now we have Boss and also the Siege Giants just going straight for the structures, whereas the bot shrine or bot temple is now taken. Level 16 talents are available now as well, and the orb build on Li Ming continues with the Arcane Orbit now chosen as well. But a few of the structures are already down. Top temple taken. It drops another fort. Both of the teams actually very even when it comes to structures now, but that boss definitely giving a slight edge to Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, it's putting on some huge pressure into the bot lane, which allows all the rest of the shots to take down all the remaining buildings in the top lane and the mid lane from the tier 1. So now it's the tier 2 taking damage, and Gale Force Esports putting on some extra pressure with that. They're able to take down the tower. Fury doing some good vision of that bush area, making sure they didn't get ganked from the side.
Yeah, on level 16 we have Mark for Death now taken for Illidan. We're also seeing again the nerfs of Steel on Sonya, survivability for her of course. And Benediction for AKA Phase. He can go for the double stun against Illidan if he wants to. With Airy Gust now comboing perfectly on that level 4 talent of Falstad. So he's going to be able to just like spam out his abilities a lot more if he's able to keep himself a little bit farther out of the fight. Looks like they are trying to set up a trap down here at that Siege Giant camp, and that could be a successful one, as we have Johanna locked down once, locked down twice, and about to drop, but the heal is there. But now, of course, we have Ancestral off cooldown. Illidan jumps in deep. Uh-oh, he gets Drink Raid, could get stunned, but jumps out with a friend of foe. That was a very close call here by Glorang. If Uther has his cooldowns ready for the stuns with Benediction, then he is definitely going to die. But in this case, he's able to just jump out before that happens.
Yeah, lots of people getting very close to being picked off there. Johanna getting the heal and getting her own shield off in time to stay alive. Just very close space here, but Gale Force starting to gain some momentum, whereas Cognitive have been ahead from a very large amount of this game. Gale Force bringing it back. They have good map control. Structures are almost exactly even here. So it is just going to be about who wins the next couple of fights. Siege Giant currently being stolen by Cognitive. Very little Gale Force can do about this, especially with Falstad in the top lane.
Very good cooldown trades, by the way, in the last battle. Like, especially when we're looking at Metamorphosis and also the Ancestral. Those are still down for another 40 seconds, whereas all of the cooldowns that we're seeing for Gale Force are ready, or about to be. So they can actually go in and try and force a fight here. They can try and exploit that a bit. Glorang at the top was trying to go for Falstad, who de-backed already. They're de-pushing the bot lane, but they have to also care about the middle of the map, where we're already seeing Cognitive starting to drop a few of the structures. And keep in mind that on this map in particular, oh my god, what a beautiful escape against that Mighty Gust. Very well done here by Cattle and by Carthenlock. Synchronized incredible play there. The Dimensional Shift and that Iron Skin. I've got nothing out of that. That could have actually turned on him and turned very ugly if Johanna had gone for the stun. But as such, Mighty Gust now on cooldown. No heroics pop during that for Cognitive here. So Cognitive putting on some pressure. Fight. Keep in mind, cooldown on Mighty Gust is still there, so disengage is going to be a little bit tricky for them. Everything else is currently up and ready. If Fury gets a good mosh, that would be great for him. Heals are also there. Poke is happening. Crayon is out of position, and their Divine Shield is already used. That's a problem for them. They have to commit now, and Illidan is jumping in with Metamorphosis. Crayon is about to fall, uses the Phoenix, is able to get away for now. Oh my god, the mosh pit is capturing Illidan and Li Ming, but there's no follow-up damage to drop him. Rufflecopter can use the Mighty Gust in just a moment. Where is it? Where is that? Oh, I feel like he screwed up a little bit. He could have used that a bit earlier and maybe saved ETC. As is, though, it's a kill against Gale Force Esports. 2 kills against 1, and they are able to move up to the top now to claim the shots.
Yeah, and that's going to put them in a hugely advantageous position. That 1 kill is all they need. They managed to get mosh pitted on 2 of their most essential heroes, the Li Ming and the Illidan, and keep them both alive, and getting the kill on the ETC is really important for them as well. I'm very surprised they didn't get a kill on Kael'thas. An amazing job via Uther to keep him alive. There's some really clutch shields at the end.
But that was also a problem. Khaldor was definitely out of position in this one. He was trying to flank here for a bit of damage, but he should have kept himself a little bit farther back. The problem was really that with him in such a position and isolated by the force wall, all of a sudden Uther had to burn all of his cooldowns to keep him alive. And that was the moment when Illidan said, this is my time to shine. He jumped in and really started to dish out the damage. And with Falstad not having the Mighty Gust anymore because he was trying to isolate 2 heroes a bit earlier, they couldn't simply retreat. When he finally had it up, he also used it a second too late. I'm not 100% certain that he would have been able to save ETC. He could have tried though. Right now, we have Boss being fought over. That's a very ambitious fight, even with a level 20 talent in play. But there is still, of course, a bit of counterplay against Falstad, and he's gonna use that. There they go. Boss is stolen already. It's 20 versus 20 right now. Can they really fight here? They might try to. Boss is already on its way though, and they have to retreat, but Illidan is on their heels.
There's a shrink ray, but they try to turn around to Illidan, but he's too far back, and suddenly that puts AKA Face really out of position. Gust is used, and that will allow everyone to escape here. Volstad even flying to secure his own safety. Now we're going to see Cognitive pushing with this boss, whereas Gale Force just trying to stay under their keep right now, stay safe, and work down the boss.
AKA Face not even burning his Divine Shield in that situation. The cooldown was ready, but he didn't use it. He was risking it. And that was, of course, a clutch play here for him. But he survived, and now he still has that readily available if need be. They take down the boss, doesn't go through keep yet. And now it's 20 versus 20. And this is where things are really starting to become quite interesting in this game. Because now we have 18 minutes on the board. Death timers are pretty high. No talent taken yet for ETC. He could go for the death metal here. We have seen it before, trying to suicide into the opponent and force that mosh pit onto them.
Yeah, I very much like not picking talent in ETC yet. You can pick into Bolt if you can engage with that with a quick pick. You can quick pick into death metal if you're about to get picked off, and obviously into the 4-bus in that situation as well. He has so many viable talents, so I really like leaving it and just working out exactly which one's going to be good at the time.
Yeah, for now we have a fight about to start once again. Already Iron Skin burned by Johanna. That might become a problem down the road, especially with Rufflecopter now flying into. They're getting in position here. Rufflecopter is looking for an opportunity to maybe gust them into a corner. Doesn't get the angle though. He's putting pressure on Faye. Great move here. Lots of damage actually. Exactly what he needs to do here to make sure that she cannot simply spam her orbs in. But these force walls are making Fury's life a living hell.
Yeah, he's trying to tank best he can, which means he has to be the furthest forward, but then he's just gets separated, and there's nothing he can do about that. Right now, though, we're going to see Gale Force group mostly around this top temple, but Volstad has had to show down in the spot lane dealing with this. He does have epic mounts, so he'll be able to fly up soon, but for now, the enemy knows that the team is down one person, so we're going to try and get something of this. Cognitive Flower going against Shrink Ray, though. Lots of studs. Metamorphosis and Ancestral is used. In comes Volstad, trying to get Johanna again. She gets Mighty Gusted, but it's still got a lot of health left.
Yeah, that was maybe a bit too optimistic here, going for that Mighty Gust. I'm not quite sure if that was really the right move. It seemed a little bit forced, but they are putting a lot of pressure on Caterpillar now. If they can get that kill, that would be amazing for them. Glora was also so low during that fight, even though it was a 4 versus 5. But right now, once again, we have them all collected up at the top lane. Also, look at that pressure play against the keep down here. The first keep is going to fall, and it's a keep on the side of Cognitive. Gale Force Esports is securing themselves a slight lead once again.
However, more shots now coming out from that mid-temple, but unfortunately they're going onto the mid lane as opposed to either of the lanes that already had damaged keeps. But we now see, once again, both teams with all 5 members prepared. The Bruisers still going in the top lane, and looks like this mid keep will go down for Gale Force, or at least will get very close. Down it goes, and a couple of the extra shots will go onto that top keep, which was already damaged too.
Illidan or no Illidan, 40 seconds on the Ancestral. That is huge. Also, Metamorphosis is still off cooldown. On cooldown, so in this case now they have to somehow try to maybe force that battle before Rhaegar is able to use Ancestral again. But we have Cognitive moving back, and for very good reason. Yeah, they're going for the camp right now though, and if Gale Force wants, they can jump into that. There's another 17 seconds on Rhaegar's heroic. They don't know that, but they could have timed it. At least I don't think they know. But by now it doesn't really matter too much anymore. In the next fight, all of the heroic abilities will be available once again.
Yeah, both teams going to have everything ready. ETC did pick his level 20 Storm talent. He chose Bolt of the Storm because he needed it for an escape. And it is still an incredibly good talent, especially for that very quick aggression, which can happen around the throw pit. And in this game, it's going to be so important because it's so hard to get a good mosh, because, let's be honest, Cognitive have been playing very, very well at playing around this mosh, staying very split, making sure there's never 2 high priority targets in the same place.
Definitely true. It's all about the positioning right now. One team fight, one pick, that is all that you need. Sonya is showing in the middle now. Of course, boss is going to be up in another 30 seconds, and it's going to be a huge part of the game, with both teams going to be trying to go for it if they get an opportunity here. So one team fight can really end the game at this point, especially with 22 minutes into the match. The boss being extremely strong. We have the poke happening once again, and it's all about trying to get into a decent position. So at this point, Fury is already there up at the top. Mike Rudal is right in position to go straight in again if he sees an opportunity. Falstad has to go to the lane to the top though. He wants to make sure that the fort is not, or the keep is not falling, and that is the opportunity now for Cognitive to start and engage, or at least pressure, and see if they can maybe get an easy pick.
Yeah, but they're not able to get anything. We saw Gale Force playing very far back, moving towards Falstad, so because he didn't have his fly up, he would be ready. Fly is now up, however, that epic mount really allowing this. Fury looking for a mosh potentially, due to the fact he was trapped away from his team, so he might as well have set up, but nothing happened, no engage on him, and he wasn't able to find anything. Falstad on his own in the bot lane here, looking for Illidan in the bush, finds Illidan in just general. Oh no! Missing the gust there due to the metamorphosis, and now Rufflecopter is in trouble. Epic Mount just came up, but he goes down.
What a fail! I mean, that was horrible. I mean, sorry, but like, there's nothing else to say at that point. Like, he really screwed that one up. It was a very, very late attempt to go for the Mighty Gust here. That didn't work. Epic Mount wasn't ready either, as you already pointed out. And now Falstad is dead and they have to retreat. And it's at the worst time in the game. The Temples are just up. That was definitely a very, very awkward play there. And it could lose them the game. Gale Force Esports is trying to escape, but if Illidan is good at one thing, then it's chasing down heroes.
Udal getting the Divine Shield, but that sacrifices Kael'thas here. Udal gets picked up anyway. Down goes AKA FaZe. It is just Fury. The Siege Giants in the bot lane as well going in. And Fury is just trying to play here. He's managed to trap Faye away from his team, but everyone else is already on the core. AKA FaZe is back thanks to Redemption, but he doesn't have enough stun or enough defense here to deal with this, and that's going to be GG.
Yeah, this is one of the games where Falstad definitely has to just say, okay boys, I'm sorry, this was on me, next game we're going to take it. But Rufflecopter had a bit of an unfortunate spot there too. Illidan successful in game number 1, and that brings us into a third game between Gale Force Esports and Team Cognitive. Game number 3, everybody, in the series between Cognitive and Gale Force Esports. Group B at the Dreamhack Austin. And, well, we have currently bans on Zul for Dragonshire, and it looks like Cognitive is thinking about banning out Kael'thas, which leaves open, exactly, the guy that is currently making some noise here. Krasilisk, first of all, thank you very much for the support, and we could actually hear that Illidan again during the game, and not only here, and guess what? He's back. This time, though, in the hands of Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, it was run very successfully by Cognitive last game. A lot of traps being set up. Like, Illidan would just wait in a bush until someone got near enough to him, would then just leap out and wail on that person. It was kind of cool to see. We'll see if Gale Force can do it as well. It is Dragonshire, so it is a bit of a smaller map.
The Moon also, thank you very much for the resub, my friend. Illidan is in, so we have a lot of Illidans with the We Are Not Prepared coming into play. I really feel like taking Tacita away would be probably a good choice. Mirrodin helps you with the Reverberation build against Illidan already, so they go for Li Ming, alright. I would have gone for a Sonya. I would have gone Mirrodin Sonya. We could look at the same situation again where a Sonya can be great counterplay if you don't go for a Tacita combination early on. A Tacita Sonya, for example, over the Mirrodin would have been what I personally would have preferred. You pick Tacita away from Illidan, you put Sonya into play, which is a great hero against him as well. So as a starter setup, I feel it's one of the best things that you can do.
The Mirrodin is strong against Illidan, though, but I think the Li Ming is very much more than anything a comfort pick for Faye. That's what we've been seeing her on every single game so far. Kael'thas already banned out, so they just wanted that really high ability damage. But, like you said, that is very concerning that Tassadar has just been straight up given over to Illidan, and Falstad also being hovered over.
It's one of those usual combinations that you see. You've seen Illidan on one side and then Tacita Sonya on the other. And both times that we've seen Illidan in the series now, that has not happened. And it surprises me a lot, since it's one of the counterplays that you can go for. You deny Tacita and you pick a good counter with Sonya and then you take it from there. They don't do that, and that means that Gale Force Esports doesn't only have Tacita available. I would really like them to confirm Falstad, because he is just a god on this map, especially after we reach the late game with level 20s, and he can be so powerful here. It's also like great for the disengagers, of course. Anything else? If they pick a Brightwing pick would only be denied against Illidan. I'm not sure if I like that, to be honest with you.
It's an AKA face swing. He loves playing that Brightwing. It's basically his main hero. It's still okay for Illidan, but I agree. I don't think it is the best choice here.
You put it into perfect words. It's still okay with Illidan, but it's not as good as having that dirty Rhaegar. or that Uther. So it might be a comfort pick for you. It might be something that you really like. You pick it away from your opponent so they can't use it. Wow, the Illitons are really jumping in for this one. Someone is hyped about him. Like, look at that.
He's got cooldown reduction, of course.
Yeah, cooldown reduction. Exactly. The resubs are coming in a little bit faster right now. Yeah, but it's interesting for me to see that. I like the ban a little bit more on Tyrande so that the vulnerable isn't there. But Brightwing Tacita is certainly interesting. I guess you can get those shields in for Illidan. It's not a horrible choice. So don't get me wrong. It's not something where I say like, oh my god, they're gonna lose the game. No, but it feels like that Rhaegar with a lightning shield with the ancestral would have been a pretty sweet pick here too.
Yeah, like it is very much a target pick in here, but we'll see how it works out for them. Gale Force hovering over to Sylvanas. It was been very popular in the first series, not so much in this one, but it's still very effective. And dropping that silence into the backline, leaving Falstad is just going to be beautiful. And Johanna to finish off the comp.
It's an interesting setup.
That is a way of putting it, yes.
Who let the dogs out?
Wow, Casca, dude, thanks for that. Apparently after Illidan made his play, someone wants to let the dogs out as well. I guess Thrall is a little bit of a dog. I guess that is racist against orcs. Apologies.
You sir are awesome. Keep doing your thing.
Thanks, bro. You have also the chibi choice. You need to let my moderators know what you want to have to kick that Lily over there. But yeah, thank you very much for the support, my friend. A Thrall wouldn't be too bad, but I really prefer against Illidan to run a Sonya here. It really feels that Sonya is like the accepted counter. Like the on-point damage is just really great. I have to admit though that overall these comps are a little bit weird. I mean, Sylvanas as the main damage dealer, it's not like she can't dish out the damage, but considering what else was available, I really feel that another damage dealer from the backline would maybe have been the better choice for Gale Force. It seems like to be a composition that is drafted a lot around comfort picks for the teams, which can definitely work, of course.
Yeah. I kind of do like this brawl, to be honest, though, because solo laner, they already had Falstad, but he might need to be roaming quite a bit. Thrall is in a situation where it's not as big of a deal if he gets polymorphed compared to, say, a Sonya. If Sonya gets polymorphed mid-whirlwind, she's in serious trouble and might die. Thrall, at least, doesn't have only ability that can be interrupted is Wind Fury, and even that he can carry on after the polymorph ends.
But I'm afraid that Sundering might be dodged by Illidan.
True.
That's a problem. Well, we are going to find out one way or another, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to jump into game number 3, between Cognitive and Gale Force Esports, where we're going to find out which team is going to claim victory in the best of 3 series. Game number 3, everybody, and it is on. Illidan, once again, this time actually played on the side of Gale Force Esports. And well, to the left side, first of all, the blue team, we have Cognitive with Caterpillar currently playing Mirrodin. We have Ayakona on Uther, Faye on Li Ming, Glorang on Thrall, and Corthan Luck on Falstad. To the right side of the map, Gale Force Esports with aka Face on Brightwing. We currently see Fury on Johanna, Mike Udall on Illidan, Rufflecopter on Sylvanas, and Krohn this time on Tacita. It is definitely an interesting setup. As we said during the draft, it seems like especially Gale Force Esports drafted a lot of heroes that are comfort picks for them, which can definitely work out, of course, but at the same time, it's not really the setup that you usually see with Illidan. That Brightwing is definitely one of the things that you can play, but the more traditional pick would have been Rhaegar, and in terms of damage, there were other options than Sylvanas. But if a Dragonite is claimed, then Sylvanas can, of course, make sure that you have a lot of pushing power on that lane. You can really drop a lot of. So it's going to be a very curious game here, and I'm super excited to see this one.
Likewise, like seeing the Brightwing for starters is just something we don't see that often in general. So I'm really interested to see how aka Face is running this. He used to be very good at it when it was played a bit more, and he even plays it every now and again anyway. So he has a lot of practice on this. So I'm excited to see someone who has a lot of practice on Brightwing bringing it out in the current meta.
Top lane right now, we have still a Thrall, and I mean Sonya would have been an option. Thrall is another. The big asset of Thrall is that he is a huge lane bully, even more so than Sonya, so he can actually just like dictate the pace of the game at the top for now, and probably also claim that shrine. But of course, here at the bottom of the map, we still have rotations going between the two teams, and Sylvanas is starting to also burst a few of these waves down, and she is going to be a huge asset in later stages if you get the objective. But that's of course something that you first of all have to try and get.
Yeah, Rufflecopter taking a little bit of poke from Corthan here, but nothing serious. Once again, the 2 main assassins dueling up in the top lane. Evasion. quite effective here against that Wind Fury, but if you can time it well, a Thrall can do this. We're not saying that it's a bad setup. Like we said, we both like Sonya quite a bit here, but this is not an undoable situation for Thrall.
No, definitely not. I mean, Thrall is going to be pressured back a little bit depending on how much they rotate to the top lane. This is one of the things that they have to do to help Illidan out here. Illidan on the lane can actually do a very, very strong job, especially if you go for that immolation on level 1, which he did. You can pressure heroes back a lot. He is much, much better on a solo lane than a lot of people actually realize. But now all rotations are once again there, and they're trying to go for Johanna. Uh-oh, Fury's in trouble, and he is dead. Great move of Cognitive, and they are going to get another shrine in this case, whereas Brightwing has started to capture the bottom.
Yeah, so Brightwing just immediately moving in, getting that trade for her team so that they even up the shrine count again. And Illidan was already in the mid lane, so it did to protect that as well, making sure no Dragon Knight will be taken.
Yeah, well, and talking about Dragon Knights, we're having at the same time now again the fight for the shrine, this time at the bottom of the map, where we, as you can already see, seeing Korth and Luck starting to move in. He's going to try and make sure that his team is going to get the first objective here. Then in terms when it comes to experience, though, both of the teams are still on roughly even footing. It's again a trade of the shrines that we're seeing here. The level 4 talents basically ready for both of them, of course.
Yep, in level 4 talents, we're seeing that unstable anomaly coming in for Brightwing, which gives the hint that she's probably moving more into a polymorph build, which is pretty nice, can really affect the Thrall, can you get some good focus out of it, and if not, it is just extra damage the other time in that level Peekaboo or the Manic Pixie. All still pretty effective as well. Brightwing trying to take the shrine here. Korthon not having it because a lot of people have just come in. Sylvanas getting stunned out before she can use her Haunting Wave there. And she gets stunned out, and that is a kill.
Really well played. The Haunting Wave comes out, and then the perfectly timed stun makes sure that she can't use it to escape. All of a sudden, she's very much alone. And it was great play that we just saw. It was extremely strong. We have again also, of course, an amplified healing actually on the side of Johanna. That kind of makes sense if you consider that Brightwing is one of the healers here. We've actually seen this in the past with Rhaegar every now and then, where you can just like rely on the chain heal to give you a bit of extra heals there as well, especially if you're even if you're not the main healing target. It can really help depending on the map and has seen play. A lot of players are still preferring to go for the Laws of Hope, of course, but right now we have a bit of pressure play at the bot lane where Falsehood is all of a sudden being obliterated. So yeah, it looks like that Dragon Knight could even end up in their hands, but the push instead is also going to give them quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, they have the Sylph, so they're just getting as much aggression out of this as possible. They grab one tower, they will get two. Cattle coming in, this will put a stop to this push for the moment, with Johanna coming in actually. They'll try and make a play, but with both behind the wall, they will not catch anyone. And right now it's just an XP game coming in for Cognitive right now, because they still have Li Ming in the middle. She's been soaking up all this time.
Level 7 is, of course, an incredibly important talent now on the side of Gale Force Esports, especially since they have that Tacita that now can use the preload thanks to Karla's Embrace. Another important part, on the other hand, though, is that we're having with Barbed Shot a very nice way for Sylvanas to burst down not only of mercenaries but also waves even more than before. At the top lane, the pressure play against Thrall could take him down, and indeed it does, with AKA Face doing a great job here. Sylvanas, on the other hand, is currently down at the bot lane. She was not able to escape Korth and Luck and Caterpillar. So a kill for a kill, a pressure play at the top already, where the well is under siege, and that is always a problem.
Yeah, but a lot of people coming up here gonna force this to back out. Muradin wasn't showing, he was in the jungle bit just above mid lane, but now he realizes seeing as everyone's backed up, he needs to head down to that bot lane because Johanna will get this. So now look at the amount of people in the mid lane, look at the people in top lane, just preventing this Dragon Knight as long as possible. Icona will trade the shrine now.
Yeah, Icona trades the shrine. Glorung is rotating around the opponents, always moving into shrine reach now. The level 10s are there, no big surprises here with the Blink Heal, Wailing Arrow, Metamorphosis, Blessed Shield and the Force Wall. But maybe the pressure that they need to go for the first Dragon Knight. Keep in mind, they run that Sylvanas. The Dragon Knight would be huge for them. And Caterpillar is trying to interrupt it. Drone is there. The hit from Fate does not hit him though. But at the bot lane, we have the fight between Thrall and Johanna. Can she hold it long enough? Answer is no. She has to retreat, and therefore Glorung is able to capture a shrine and deny the Dragon Knight as they are picking up the level 10s themselves.
Yeah, and they have all the level 10s right now except for Uther once again, sticking with the theme. Although on this hero it makes a bit more sense here against it than sometimes it is nice to drop that Divine Storm to try and lock him down, and that's just an extra way of killing him.
Yeah. You're totally right. In this case, they could go for the Divine Storm instead, which would offer a lot of value for them. But first of all, it's all about the camps now, and the Siege camp is currently stolen away.
Yeah, stolen away, but with Sylvanas completely positioned to kill this, it will not get anything done with Barb Shot as well. She's going to get that done so quickly. Mike O'Dell pushed up that lane a bit, did a little bit of damage to the fort, but not going to get anything out of it. But right now, both shrines about to go in favor of Gale Force Esports, but they do not have enough pressure in the mid lane. And Falstad is very well positioned in top lane too. The second he thinks the coast is clear, which it currently isn't, due to a sneaky Illidan to maybe take that shrine, but decides against it. He doesn't know where Illidan is, so instead, going to move down to the bot lane, fly in, or sorry, just hold the mid lane in this case, and while the rest of the team fights over bot lane. Now Illidan is miles away from the action, but Thrall getting focused and killed before the Sundering.
Yeah, Thrall down, Falstad flies to the bottom, that opens up a window for Illidan to go in, and he's going to get the Dragonite, and then they can move in with Sylvanas. Sneaky play from Gale Force Esports. For a long time, they have kept their opponents on their toes. Now they are finally reaping what they saw, and if they are starting to move up into the mid lane with Sylvanas, they can of course pressure with the Dragonite, or they can simply stay down at the bottom here and pressure another fort at the same time. It's a loss-loss situation for the team around Faye and Corvin Luck here, with Ayakona now starting to move in too, but that Dragonite is just moving from lane to lane, doing so much damage here right now. Well played, and this is just once again a huge lead that they're taking.
Yeah, and they don't even need Sylvanas with this. Sylvanas would lower the amount of damage the Dragonite takes, but it did get changed a little while ago that the Dragonite no longer has its attack slowed by forts and keeps, so he's just going full aggro here. Nice dwarf cross by Cattle, and that will force Udar to go back, because Reverberation will still slow the auto attacks of the Dragonite.
Yeah, but as you can see here, we are having a lot of damage already dished out to that fort, and they are about to hit level 13, and they finally will once the tower is down. That's happening. That's an extra talent on their side. Will of the Forsaken taken. The fort is taken out now too. They're jumping in once again. Here comes Ayakona. Metamorphosis is already being used, and at the same time we have the stun against Li Ming, who was trying to go for the Disintegrate. Here comes the jump against Falsa, but Korthlag is attempting to move away and barely able to do so. Sundering is out, can't be used anymore, and both Muradin and Thrall are extremely low. They're jumping away, but the kill against Thrall secures another victory in a fight for Gale Force Esports as they start to move towards the camps to steal those away from Cognitive.
Midway through that fight, we did actually see the heroic finally picked up by Uther. He went for the Divine Storm, but it did not work out for him. Gorthon having to move out here. Muradin also going to give up on that. They can't win a 4 versus 5 fight on that Bruiser camp, so they just let it go.
Yeah, they definitely can't. And as you already said, the Divine Storm has been taken. That's great against Illidan, but it also means that you don't have your panic button anymore.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a reverse panic button. Like, instead of your teammate is dying, it's just like, oh god, we're dying, hit R. Against the Illidan at least, because you really, that is what the aim was there, but he wasn't able to land it in that last fight. So for now, it is he just has to wait for that cooldown and wait for another fight.
They're doing actually really well here. I mean, they have once again Illidan with his immolation already hard at work, going for the Siege Giant camp, sorry, for the Bruiser camp. And in this case, they can really just try to use those camps to push the lanes in even more. The top lane has been pressured quite a bit. 13 talents now on both sides, though. And we're seeing also a Siege Giant camp claimed. But we still have that 5 versus 5 potential with 13 versus 13 talents. And Brightwing securing experience at the top lane, pathing the way for the Bruiser camp, but always having, of course, an eye on the bot lane so that she can jump in if need be and apply that extra shield, especially on Illidan, who would then go completely ham.
Yeah, and speaking of shields, Tastar's been doing an amazing job of preloading these shields so that his team do not take too much damage from this Li Ming. It's just been very on point all game. Like I said, Bruiser camp has just been left completely clear. It's going to be pushing onto these tier 2 towers along with the minion wave. And in the meantime, Brightwing will also manage to get the shrine out of this.
Yeah, and the top lane is still being pushed, so this is a very tricky situation for Cognitive right now. It's incredibly difficult for them to co-react to everything that is happening on the map right now. We're seeing still Illidan in position. Glorung is in the mid lane, but doesn't see Illidan just yet. And guess who's still pushing the top? It's AKA FaZe. He's going through those towers like it's nothing.
Yeah, he still has the Bruiser camp with him. In comes Glaurung, though. But the only thing that can oh, blink heals to the minion. In comes Korthon. He could just try and teleport here. The Sundering used. They really want AKA FaZe. Blink heals to the minion. They're still chasing. He's going to try and run it into the base to escape here. No, blink heals to the minion. He's going to get out. What a play by AKA FaZe. He's still being chased. It's not over yet. More minions, but he doesn't have a blink heal charge, and he's out.
What a
Get
player!
outplayed, son.
Get wrecked, son! He baited a cooldown on a heroic, and he bought all the time for the rest of his team to get the Dragonite. It was a 1 versus 2 and he survived, and now he so simply blinks and says like, guys need a shield. I mean, that's a Brightwing with a Kappa face if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, just like, oh, by the way, guys, I took down 2 towers, also distracted 2 members, so we got the DK, got out fine, and kept everything alive. You all good? Everything else fine?
Wow, they just got outplayed hard. That like feels bad, man.
Yeah, oh my god. This is the kind of situation where I just get up and take a break. Just after that.
Like, if Tetcher was playing on the other team, guys, he would just simply walk away right now. This is like the moment.
Yeah, just like hands off the
walk
keyboard,
away.
I'm done. No longer pro.
Imagine that on stage, just walking it out of there. Like, yeah, oh, GG, we're done.
Like,
look at that level difference. 17 versus 14. We were talking about the composition and the comfort picks. And yes, the right wing was definitely a comfort pick for him. You could see it. You could tell that in the last fight there.
Yeah, he likes it. He definitely likes it. So for now, he's back in the top lane. He's going to push it again, push with the minions with the rest of his team on the retreat right now.
They're going to ignore him now. Nobody's going to go up there.
Have to.
Like, they're actually daring, like, Muradin to go in, and he's like, are you crazy? I'm not going to get embarrassed by Brightwing. That's not going to happen. You did that already. Nice silence here, by the way. They steal the camp. Look at that stun, double stun, but Illidan is still full alive. Can start to jump in right now. He uses heroic already, but they are on the chase now. The shields of Tacet are once again there. Aya Connor is already dead. He now has the cooldown ready for his Divine Storm, but it's already too late to use that in the situation. Great play here once again. It's a kill, and they want more than that. They're jumping in once again to at least take the fort, and if possible, secure a second kill.
Cattle getting chased, gets rooted by the Thrall, but Cattle still getting picked off. Udal is just on point. He's at that stage of the game where he, as Illidan, can basically do whatever he wants and pretty much get away with it.
Yeah, now we're having them just like simply moving into the middle. They want to have a keep, and I mean, at this point, who's going to stop them? Sylvanas is there. We already talked about how strong she is in these situations. They are ahead, and with Sylvanas, you are just emphasizing that even more. They're jumping in, they're going for the kill. The keep is going to fall here for sure. The Dragonite is going to be up in another 10 seconds, and they might secure the second one. Level 16 isn't ready yet on the side of Cognitive. They're working towards it, but this game is looking very, very bad.
Yeah, Gale Force just in such a commanding position right now. They're all going back for Fountains and Mercenaries, however. They don't need to grab the Dragonite yet. They're just in a situation where they can actually just soak for 20, grab the Dragonite as it pleases, but also just get as much pressure as they can. If they have a Dragonite, that's cool. If you have a Dragonite and a Bruiser camp, then that is fantastic.
Yeah, there's already both of the shrines in their hands, a 3-level lead. At this point, you're not really asking anymore, how can we win this game? The only question that you're asking yourself is, how can we lose it? Because they have won the match already. As long as they don't throw here, they will come out victorious. So on the side of Gale Force Esports, the only question for them is really, what do we have to avoid? What could possibly lose us this game right now? And of course, Cognitive, they have to try and force something. The only way for them to win this game is to make something happen while it's 16 versus 19. Take something down, kill someone, get a bit of a snowball going for them, and even with that happening, it would still be a very tough game.
What they're trying to do here, but while this is happening, while they're trying to take a fort here versus 2 people, Sylvanas with some Bruiser camps and Brightwing is pushing top. They just got another Bruiser camp thanks to Illidan, who was split pushing that. Illidan split pushing mid, keeping the pressure on. Tassadar will even get out of here, so they're going to get the keep for this. Mid lane's under pressure too. There's a Sundering though. They may get a game phase. Yeah, that's it. 3 heroics, they got him.
Yeah, like, we don't get him with 2, but with 3 heroes, 3 versus 1, that fight we win. The problem is they still lost the fort, sorry, the keep, and guess what? It's a 4-player defense. Down here, we have only Cattle available, and he is barely jumping out because that blessed shield doesn't hit him. But as long as they don't lose more heroes here, they're going to be totally fine. Illidan is just simply, like, he's lazily dodging that stun, totally unimpressed. They might get Johanna though, but well, with Indestructible, she should be able to get away here, especially, of course, with a Force Wall now also helping out. It's still 2 forts that have been taken down, and it's a 2-level lead that we are seeing. This is like an incredible play on the side of Gale Force Esports, and they have a lot of time right now to secure that victory.
Yeah, but they can't secure the Dragon Knight right now. Losing those 2 members, they are in an amazing position where they are very ahead, but losing those 2 members was actually a really big deal because they were basically trying to distract for the Dragon Knight to be taken, similar to what they did earlier. But Muradin just stayed bot and fought off 2 heroes and then 3 heroes once Illidan gave up on mid lane and was able to stop that from happening. So Cattle really is team saving grace here.
Yeah, in the mid lane, as you can see, we have still Tassadar there. He has to interrupt, and he does that. At the bot lane, the shrine was taken, and Cattle is actually in trouble. And in quite a bit of that, they're all moving in once again. And Illidan, he was out for blood. He wants it. Smells blood in the water and tries to go for the kill here. Kroll is getting gusted away just before he dies. Cattle is still incredibly low, and Michael Udall is trying to jump in. Gets a bit baited and stunned, and Illidan is dead! Illidan is dead. The 20 still not there. They kill against Uther. That, of course, helps him with the heals once again. It's a 4 versus 4 situation for now. Meliming again with a damage output, but so little mana on the side of Muradin. They have to retreat, and that's what they do. Dragon Knight up for grabs right now with the Storm talent still available to the team in red.
That was a really, really nice bait by Muradin. He basically held off on his avatar, despite it might have got him killed, until he was in range for Illidan to dive him, because he looked like he would basically be an easy kill for Illidan. Illidan dives him, avatars pop, so Muradin's fine, Divine Storm, and we all saw what happened from there. That was just pure destruction, an incredible bait there.
That was a very nice bait, and also in the mid lane we have a big fight over the Dragon Knight statue. At the bot lane, Dragon also to retreat here. Illidan on another 13 seconds. Uther still not ready, and keep in mind, Uther's of course the healer here, so that is a huge deal. Brightwing could even jump in, but now both of the teams are on level 20, which means rewind on the side of Muradin. We're having also Uther so far not with a talent. Falstad flies in, they're trying to go for it. Here comes the steal on the cam. Okay, they get it. Everything's good so far. Illidan is back to business now as well and can rejoin them. Still 2 keeps down, but at least they fight on even talents now.
Yeah, Uther on the way to his team. Currently there are minions in his base pushing, but they need to prevent this Dragon Knight from happening. Illidan not even bothering coming to his team. He's once again doing bruiser camps, because this top lane is so risky right now. Sylvanas using that Will of the Forsaken, she will run out of there through the stuns.
Yeah, here comes once again also Li Ming with the Disintegrate. They're starting to jump back in. Illidan is doing camps right now. It's a 4 versus 5 down here at the bottom of the map. So it's a nice distraction. Illidan takes the camp. That puts more pressure onto the top lane. And these lanes are already pressured a lot with the keeps gone and only 1 keep at the bot lane still in play. That means that the catapults are eventually going to start to put damage onto the core itself. Down here, though, it's a 5 versus 5. And the longer it lasts, the more value this cap at the top lane is going to get for them.
Yeah, Illidan just hovering around the bushes like, should I help? Should I join in? He's just trying to hide himself. He finally shows himself, so they know it's a 5 versus 5, but Falstad has had to back out. He does have Epic Mount, so he will be ready for the teleport any second now, so he'll be able to come and rejoin his team. But instantly, Gale Force have realized that there's not everyone here. In comes Falstad, already back. So they're going to try and make a play here while a load of the engage abilities have been used from Gale Force.
Yeah, top lane is still being pressured. Top lane, once again, that camp is arriving at the core right now. A lot of the shields are already gone, and that camp is not going to make it any easier here, especially since there are 2 catapults accompanying it right now. Illidan is moving in. He just wants to go for it. He could actually.
It's just stop the ports. They're just going to stop the ports. Fastest going to fly in. He's basically saving grace. Thrall also coming back. Minions have spawned. That will delay. Brightwing comes in. Brightwing gets gusted, but Illidan is fine. Core getting dropped. In comes everyone. They're just going for the front/back door.
Yeah, Cattle at the other hand is holding the Dragon Knight. Sylvanas is still down, is nearly down. Here comes that stun though, also a Sundering, but once again they're jumping away and they're going for it. They're simply just going for it. They don't care anymore. It's just DPS and they have more than enough to drop the core. The 2-1 victory for Gale Force Esports against Cognitive at Dreamhack Austin.